Okay. If you have had a look at your booklets that you got when you checked in, there is something called the Norwegian Guide and Scout Challenge that we encourage you to have a look at. Yeah, so please look at the Norwegian Guide and Scout Challenge if you want to have something to do when we're not in sessions. Tonight we'll celebrate ourselves with a big European Village Party, and we hope that you have brought exciting activities or items for sale. And of course that you'll all join us for the beach party afterwards. Remind you that we have exclusive conference t-shirts for sale at the Spider's Bookshop in the corner outside in the exhibition area. And the last message, we understand that you have been mingling and have a good time yesterday, because some of you might not have slept in your rooms, because we still have some of your key cards left from in the interpretation kits from yesterday. So yeah. But the message from our side is to please hand back your interpretation kit or set at least when the last session of the day ends. Okay, so please do that, and it will that will make things easier for all of us. Okay, thank you very much, and have a nice day at the conference.
Thank you, Eric. This is an important announcement, and I've asked you to pay very, very close attention to what I'm going to say. This is a message on behalf of the European Scout Committee. We are very conscious that there are a lot of rumours and a lot of messages in relation to the original Scout plan that probably are not coherent, and that probably we have contributed to that thinking by not being terribly precise in how we were recommending the plan to you. We would like to invite you to send one representative per delegation to a meeting at 1:30 this afternoon. We recognise that you may already have other plans, but I think you will recognise that it's probably quite important. The meeting would last 20 to 30 minutes maximum, so it means that you would have time to go back to your delegation in relation to feeding back about the original Scout plan. I think that all of us have the same objective, and that is to have a regional Scout plan that meets our needs and is not compliant, but is under the umbrella of the World Triennial Plan. So please, we invite you at 1:30. We think it will be in the meeting where the finance workshop was, which is at the end of this, the bottom of the stairs, just beyond the information desk. If that changes, I will be there to redirect you. We haven't confirmed this with the hosts. At 1:30 in that room, and I don't even know what it's called. It's Area A, but there is a name for the room itself.
It's called Tor.
No? Okay. Tor. Thank you. I'm glad people are awake. This is. So please, at 1:30, to meet one person per delegation. We recognise that that's not easy, because sometimes delegations are quite disparate in their views, but if we can try to get one message through to each delegation, and this will help you hopefully in formulating any amendments that you foresee to the Regional Scout Plan, and not to do unnecessary work if the work will already have been done during the session in the development of the Regional Scout Plan. We hope this will be seen as a positive way forward, so that we can actually together reach the same objective. And that is a clear Regional Scout Plan that involves you as the primary motivators. I think we have moved a long way away from a top-down approach. This is about involving and the participative method rather than a top-down answer. So 1:30 this afternoon.
Thank you, David. So welcome to the second day of our 22nd European Scout Conference. It's a particular day. It's the day where the World Scouting will enlighten our day. So it's with great pleasure that I welcome to the podium our Secretary General, Scott Steele.
Thank you and good morning. It's an honor for me to be here today and share a few thoughts about scouting and the impact it has on young people in the communities where they live. Let me begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to the Guides and Scouts of Norway and all of his numerous volunteers for having worked so very hard to prepare and organize this exceptional conference. I'd also like to recognize the European Scout Committee for the time and effort you have invested in this conference. To Andrea and his committee, thank you. And to the World Scout Bureau staff, my heartfelt thanks to you. This includes those who serve in the regional support centers in Europe, as well as those in the Global Support Center in Kuala Lumpur. I'm proud to call you my colleagues, consider you my friends, and I admire who you are and what you stand for. To my predecessor and friend Luke Paniso, thank you for the continued support you give me as you represent me in various meetings where I experience travel and schedule difficulties. Last, my friends in the World Scout Committee. Special thanks to Joao, to Dan Ombi, who's not with us, to Jemima, for all your support. And to the committee members that are here, thank you for supporting this event and for the support that you give me and my team each and every day. Can you believe it's been almost a year since we were together in Japan? At that World Scout Jamboree, many of us visited the Better World tent and participated in activities about peace, dialogue, sustainable development, youth involvement, social impact, World Scout centers, the environment, and so much more. The memories and experiences will last a lifetime. And it's been nearly 2 years since we left the World Scout Conference in Slovenia with a new vision, Vision 2023, which states in part that we will place the World Organization of the Scout Movement as a leading educational movement, youth movement in the world. Futurist Joe Barker said, "Vision without action is just a dream. Action without vision just passes time. But vision with action can change the world." Since that conference, I hope you've seen what I've seen. A new direction in our movement, a new vitality, and a new excitement about reaching more young people. I say this with extreme confidence because your World Scout Committee and World Scout Bureau staff are fully engaged and committed to fulfill their obligations to better support you in this region and your National Scout organizations. This comes with a new plan for continued improved communications, a refreshed approach with more energy and productivity, a focus on improved, faster, more energetic, inspiring digital communications, a new clear strategy around external relationships based on our being an assertive partner and looking for real value for National Scout organizations and our external partnerships. And now the stage is set for this conference to combine our vision with action. You are involved with a full agenda as you collectively work to move the European region forward. There is much to accomplish in the short time we are together, and I wish you the very best of luck as you tackle the issues facing the national organizations in this fine region. But it all begins with a local scout group. It is in a local scout group that values are shared. It is in a local scout group that leadership skills are learned. It is in a local scout group that our national scout organizations can help people change lives and even sometimes save lives. In the very center of a local scout group is a group's leader. For me, it was my scoutmaster, Mr. McWilliams. Mr. McWilliams encouraged the scouts in my troop to assume various leadership roles. And oh yes, he was always right there if we ever needed to seek his sage advice. He allowed us to fail from time to time. Failing, after all, is all part of learning. And there are many that, from that troop that will always remain grateful for the leadership skills he helped us develop. It is no coincidence, therefore, that I can never bring myself to call Mr. McWilliams by his given name. He always has been and always will be Mr. McWilliams to me, and I think this speaks to the high respect we have for our scout leaders in a local scout group. And please remember that we have over 7 million volunteer scout leaders at the grassroots level, like Mr. McWilliams. They are the very pillars of scouting because it is these leaders who deliver the educational program we call scouting. Our local scout groups also know how to give back to their communities. This is clear when we look at the near 700 million hours of community service performed under the auspices of our Messengers of Peace program. In addition to planned community service projects, our scout groups also react when emergencies arise. Yes, we have young leaders that are trained in emergency preparedness. Yes, they have leadership skills to assist disaster relief organizations, such as our friends in the Red Cross. Yes, they have hands and feet and strong backs, and they are there to help when and where help is needed. No, we are not a relief organization, and our young members should not be expected to be first responders. However, we are there at the beginning of a humanitarian situation, and we never leave. We help rebuild communities and integrate and support young people for the long term. Our young leaders help organize scout activities for young people that find themselves in a temporary camp for disaster or survivors, or in one of the hundreds of refugee camps facing families fleeing from areas of conflict. This could be seen during the devastating earthquake that hit Ecuador, and the previous devastation in places like the Philippines, Nepal, and Haiti. Our scouts worked hard in these search and rescue operations, lifting rubble to help find survivors, unloading trucks filled with food supplies, and assisting in building shelters. But they also went out and helped collect food and clothing. Scouts could also be seen in refugee camps in places like Lebanon, Sweden, France, and Turkey. There they organized scout activities to help bring young survivors a little bit of the life that they left behind. These activities help deliver a value-based, non-formal educational program that helps in meeting their immediate needs of their current desperate situation and better prepare them for the longer-term future that lies beyond the confines of their survivor refugee camp. A few weeks ago, I was privileged to deliver a similar message at the United Nations World Humanitarian Summit in Istanbul, Turkey. Let me pause just for a moment to thank Hassan, President of the Scouting and Guiding Federation of Turkey, for his very kind hospitality while I was in Istanbul. Hassan, thank you, my friend. While others in the session I attended seemed to speak of issues that the UN needs to address, the World Organization of the Scout Movement acknowledged such issues and demonstrated that we have young people around the globe poised to do something about them. Clearly, we were positioned as the leading educational force in the world, hands down. Our scouts are empowered by the values in our Scout promise. Never, ever underestimate the determination of a young Scout leader to help in a time of crisis. Simply point them in the right direction and watch the magic begin. Young people are a tremendous force of energy, creativity, and values that can shape a better future, both inside Scouting and in the local communities in which they live. Our young members are in their formative years, acquiring knowledge, skills, and attitudes that make them more open to perform positively in society, not just in the future, but also today. Even though they are still in the learning process, it does not stop them from active contributions like those I just mentioned. I urge that we continue to remember that the education of young people is at the center of everything that we do. It is therefore important for us to come together as a movement to discuss education. The World Scout Educational Congress planned for next year at Kandersteg International Scout Center will be Scouting Magical, and an important link to our vision of Scouting as the world's leading educational movement. Young people are our future. The education of young people is at the center of everything we do, as we strongly believe that their potential for contributing to society is huge when fostered properly and given enough support and opportunity. I can promise you that a young person who joins the scouting program will be a better spouse, a better parent, a better employee, a better employer, and better prepared to give back to their community. In 1974, Lego, one of the world's largest toy makers, included a note in their series of doll houses, and it said, "A lot of boys like doll houses. They're more human than spaceships. A lot of girls prefer spaceships. They're more exciting than doll houses. But the most important thing is to put the right material in the hands and let them create whatever appeals to them." And scouting provides this material, the support and opportunities for self-education so that every scout is empowered to take responsibility for their own development in the process and help create a better world. Friends, I've been a scout my entire life. I am the son of a scoutmaster. I literally grew up in a scout camp. I've served in national and world jamboree leadership teams, designed programs, and implemented scout curriculum. Scouting provided me the Lego building blocks to grow and to give back to the program and reach more young people. It is therefore my considered belief, that the scouting program just made to be the most single important, vital, transformative, energizing, and visionary program ever instituted. Let me say that one more time. It is therefore my considered belief that the scouting program just may be the single most important, vital, transformative, energizing, and visionary program ever instituted. One only needs to consult the news of the day to learn of the atrocities that humans are inflicting upon one another. The acts of conflict and threats of terrorism are forcing people to flee their homes, and many have lost their lives. Even so, tens of millions of scouts from 223 different countries and territories are working in all kinds of conditions, engaging in sacred work. These scouts are helping repair the world. The work of peace is demanding. At times it is difficult and challenging work. The scouts are working to transform the world that is into the world that can be. If you read the words of Robert Baden-Powell, it becomes immediately apparent that he, with almost messianic conviction, viewed World Scouting as purveyor of global peace. This belief permeates BP's writing, BP's actions, and BP's goals for the movement that he founded. BP believed that peace will remain a distant vision. Peace will remain a distant vision unless we as scouts do the work of peace ourselves. And that's exactly what scouting allows us to do. The difficult and demanding work of peace, the world-changing work of peace. We no longer live in a world where actions and exploits can be hidden and concealed from the scrutiny of truth's light. We've not lived in that world for a very long time. Right now, as we speak, there are all sorts of organizations and groups vying for the passions and commitment, the very hearts and souls and minds of our youth. We need to be the dominant desire program, shaping their value system and molding worldview of young people across the globe. To be a scout is to change the world that is into the world that can be. Scouts are global citizens, and scouting has a global perspective. Scouting is much more than tying knots and building campfires. Scouting is about building relationships and repairing the world, but that was BP's intent from the very beginning. In 1906, in the essay where he elucidated his vision for a worldwide scouting movement, Baden-Powell wrote these words: "Let us therefore, in training our scouts, keep higher aims in the forefront, not let ourselves get too absorbed in the steps. Don't let the technical outweigh the moral. Field efficiency, backwoodsmanship, camping, hiking, good turns, jamboree comradeship are all means, not the end. The end is character with a purpose, and that purpose that the next generation may be sane in an insane world and develop the highest realization of service, active service of love and duty to God and neighbor." Jonathan Swift said, "Vision is the art of seeing the invisible." Sacred script tells us, where there is no vision, the people will surely perish. Scouting was founded by a visionary who believed the world would be healed through the peaceful work of all scouts. Our movement worldwide is sustained by leaders who translate that original vision into sacred action. Today we need to take action and bombard our young people with four-letter words. Yep, words like love, care, and hope. Yes, we may even want to use the F word from time to time. Faith. I believe that a young person today spells love T-I-M-E, time. That's what they crave, is a time from a caring adult. Scouting had leaders that fulfill that role. They give their time. Over 7 million around the globe. We need more to join us. Thank you for being one of those leaders. Together we make an incredible, positive force in today's world. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Scott Tier. I am a scout. I'm a messenger of peace, and I'm proud to be the Secretary General of the world's leading educational youth movement. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Scott. Scott was with us already last conference. He was at the previous symposium. He was touring around many of our NSOs during the current triennium. And I wish once again to thank you for all what he's doing for benefit of World Scouting and also in supporting Europe. Give him a big applause. Thank you. With pleasure also that I welcome on the podium now our chairperson of the World Scout Committee, Joao Armando Gonçalves. Joao is a well-known face to us. He's coming from our region. He was a member and served in the Regional Scout Committee, and now a very regular face around the world. So a warm welcome to Joao.
Thank you, Andre, for the kind words. Just to warn you that Andre told us that we have, me and Scott, 1 hour to speak to you. So,
Sweet hour.
just saying. Of course, it is a very big pleasure to be here, see so many familiar faces, most of them friendly, and smiling. It's really, really a pleasure. So, dear brothers and sisters in Scouting, as we begin this conference, I bring you warm greetings from my colleagues on the World Scout Committee and their best wishes for a productive event. So we have here Craig and Jemima and Lydia and Karin, but besides those, all my other colleagues send you their best greetings. Allow me to express what a pleasure it is to be here amongst friends and share with you these days in which you'll be discussing important issues of scouting in this part of the world. A regional conference like this one serves three main purposes. One, to be updated on developments at world and regional level. Two, to make good decisions for the future. And three, to meet and exchange with friends. All going well, by the end of the conference, you'll be inspired to go back to your countries and NSOs and take action. Having this in mind, I would like to offer you three contributions for that process of reflecting, making decisions, and taking action. The first contribution is a reminder of our common path. The path that we all have agreed upon when we met in Slovenia in 2014. As many of you remember, we left the World Scout Conference with a new vision for the Scout movement in 2023. And I will repeat this again. to be the world's leading educational youth movement, enabling 100 million young people to be active citizens, creating positive change in their communities and the world based on shared values. With this statement, we are reinforcing our purpose, the education of young people to become active citizens. And we are saying that we want more young people to benefit from this life-changing learning environment, which is called Scouting. To make this vision a reality, we committed to concentrate our efforts on 6 strategic priorities: educational methods, youth engagement, social impact, diversity and inclusion, communication and relations, and governance and NSO support. We believe that by developing these areas, we'll be able to make significant progress towards the vision. Doesn't mean we won't deal with other issues, but these are the ones in which we'll be investing more of the WOSM resources: people, materials, time, and money. I was very happy to read that the plan that you'll be discussing for the European region embraces this vision and this global strategy wholeheartedly, and that you are ready to play a role in this collective endeavor. The second contribution is an update on the work of your World Scout Committee. As you know, the committee developed a triennial plan that is a key reference for the work to be undertaken. This plan, which was shared with the entire organization, was built around 3 main ideas: unity, impact, and growth. Unity because we are stronger when we come together, when we develop common ideas and projects, when we understand and value our differences and are able to build from them. Impact because we need to focus on the influence we have on young people's development, to respond better to societal challenges, and to communicate better what we do. And growth because we believe Scouting transforms people's lives for the better. And hence, we want more people to have that opportunity. And that is our contribution for the better world. We are happy to report that exciting developments have happened in the past year and a half, and some others are in the process. I will now show you a little video for you to be aware of some of the developments we have been having in the last almost 2 years. More than that, I assure you. Do I need to sing or dance? Jeremy, you can help me here. Right. Let me tell you a story. No. Please don't.
We are a year and a half into the current triennium and curious to hear what's been happening in World Scouting. Let's hear the highlights from our dedicated volunteers.
Hemos estado trabajando duro en la propuesta de un mundo mejor. Y en este sentido, uno de los trabajos más destacados ha sido la increíble experiencia en la tienda de la OMS durante el Jamboree Mundial de Japón. También hemos estado trabajando en la revisión del método Scout, así como en la nueva propuesta de la insignia de madera. Por otro lado, estamos promoviendo el modelo de liderazgo del siglo XXI de la Organización Mundial del Movimiento Scout y brindándole soporte a las distintas organizaciones Scout nacionales en el desarrollo de políticas de protección de la infancia.
لقد بدأنا شراكة مع مؤسسة بريطانية لإصدار وسيلة معينة للجمعيات الكشفية الوطنية للمساعدة في قياس الأسرة. كذلك لقد بدأنا العمل حول استجابة الكشافة إلى الكوارث الطبيعية وغيرها ونهدف إلى إصدار إرشادات حول توقع المخاطر والاستعداد والاستجابة لها.
Nous développons la stratégie de communication et de relations extérieures de l'OMS. Nous avons participé à la COP21 et à la COI 11 l'année dernière à Paris.
This is going well, right?
Stop here.
I think all the French speakers are very happy. Only for your sake. And the other ones, the ones that speak Arab, are also very happy.
Just to say we will restart because it's not compatible that the majority of people cannot understand. It's been a good lesson we need to learn. But we will, we need to learn French and maybe Arabic and all the other languages. So we apologize. The problem is that we have to start two separate machines simultaneously. It's not
Technology is wonderful. Let's try again.
Fare solo uno, che così.
Thank God I'm amongst French.
Into the current triennium and curious to hear what's been happening in World Scouting. Let's hear the highlights from our dedicated volunteers.
Hemos estado trabajando duro en la propuesta de un mundo mejor. Y en este sentido, uno de los trabajos más destacados ha sido la increíble experiencia en la tienda de la OMS durante el Jamboree Mundial de Japón. También hemos estado trabajando en la revisión del método Scout, así como la nueva propuesta de la insignia de madera. Por otro lado, estamos promoviendo el modelo de liderazgo del siglo XXI de la Organización Mundial del Movimiento Scout y brindándole soporte a las distintas organizaciones Scout nacionales en el desarrollo de políticas de protección de la infancia.
لقد بدأنا شراكة مع مؤسسة بريطانية لإصدار وسيلة معينة للجمعيات الكشفية الوطنية للمساعدة في قياس الأثر. كذلك لقد بدأنا العمل حول استجابة الكشافة إلى الكوارث الطبيعية وغيرها ونهدف إلى إصدار إرشادات حول توقع المخاطر والاستعداد والاستجابة لها.
Nous développons la stratégie de communication et de relations extérieures de l'OMS. Nous avons participé à la COP21 et à la COI 11 l'année dernière à Paris. Nous avons collaboré avec l'AMGE pour promouvoir la participation des jeunes dans les actions contre le climat. Nous sommes en train de revoir scout.org et nous travaillons pour améliorer ses fonctionnalités et le rendre plus facile à utiliser.
To date, we have benchmarked 45 NSOs against the WOSM standard for good governance. We are developing a global support platform on the intranet section of scout.org. Our working methods unit has set up several review systems: the World Scout Committee member self-evaluation, World Scout Committee meetings evaluation, and appointed volunteers evaluation. In the next period, we'll be working on the WOSM transparency review.
We have successfully held 3 workshops for the 6 WOSM regions on aligning the regional strategies with WOSM Vision 2023. We have worked on developing a strategic planning toolkit for NSOs, which includes a collection of best practices in the field.
The membership task force has worked on providing the annual reporting package for NSOs online, as well as creating a comprehensive dashboard of potential new member NSOs for the World Scout Committee's attention. The Fees and Voting Task Force has been working hard on finding solutions for splitting the fees from voting rights and size of NSOs, and will be ready to show proposals to NSOs before the 41st World Scout Conference. The Duty to Go Task Force has prepared a survey for NSOs about their approach to duty to go.
This has been only a sneak peek into the great work WOSM volunteers and staff have been doing on global level. Our progress on world level is only part of the effort we need to make as a global movement to reaching our vision of 100 million active citizens creating positive change in their communities. The second part lies with you, National Scout organizations.
Let me just underline 10 of the things that you may have heard during the video, and others may not. Some of the things that we're probably very proud of, just examples. So, one, the work in our definition and measurement of our social impact as to what it means to us. Two, the work of a new communication and external relations strategy, including the definition and scope of collaboration with partners like the United Nations. Three, the preparation and or delivery of youth events. The World Scout Jamboree that we just had in Japan, the preparation for the new one in North America, and the World Scout Moot in Iceland. Four, the improvement of our internal working methods, as you heard here, and as a committee, and the overall transparency in WOSM. Five, the implementation of the Global Support Assessment Tool, GSAT, which has now been used by more than 25% of NSOs and is seen as a valuable instrument for improvement. Six, the new era of strength collaboration with key partners such as the World Scouts Foundation and WAGS. Seven, the strong focus on membership, covering issues like recognition of new NSOs, reporting systems, or criteria for admission. And here I make a bracket just to congratulate you for the growth that we have experienced in the last years. As far as I know, more than 200,000 scouts or young people have joined scouting. So congratulations to the European region for that. Eight, the implementation of a series of financial best practices and management system, which enables the organization to have a better control over its resources. Nine, the work on finding a new representation and fee system, which will be more fair, applicable to all, and able to face in a sustainable way the demands of an organization that aims to serve 100 million individual members not long from now. And last but not least, the preparations for the second World Scout Education Congress that will happen in Kennebec in May 2017. All these are just examples that illustrate how your World Scout Committee, together with around 100 volunteers and with the fundamental support of the World Scout Bureau, has been working to deliver what the World Scout Conference has asked us to do. You can find more information on the midterm review report recently released, and you'll have more time to go in depth on some of these developments in the sessions that will follow. But on top of all that, I also want to share that we started working on the future, thinking on the elements of the next triennial plan, but more importantly, about the potential changes our organization needs to do in order to achieve our Vision 2023. Changes that may need to occur in the way we communicate, the way we relate, the way we are organized, the way we deliver our educational mission, the way we engage young people, or the way we reach out to increasingly diverse groups of young people and adults. Stay tuned, because you'll hear more about this in the future. Finally, my third contribution is a reminder of how crucial your role is in this collective adventure. If you look around us, we may see conflict, poverty, inequality, unemployment, lack of education, environmental disasters, discrimination. But at the same time, we also seek collaboration across borders, openness and respect, solidarity, global awareness, creative governance, compassion, and meaningful acts of peace building. This is what we, Scouts, need to be associated with, wherever we live in the world. In recent times, European Scouts have given the world a remarkable example of what it means to be welcoming, supportive, compassionate, to be at the service of other human beings. The work you have done in providing relief and support to people running from a devastating war in Syria was outstanding and moving. I was touched by the stories I read from initiatives being taken in Austria, in Germany, in former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, in Serbia, in Sweden, and of course, in Greece. You probably have seen on social media today that the Secretary General of the United Nations was in Greece yesterday having dinner with Greek Scouts. So thank them for the work they have been doing. Thank you for that. I thank you for the inspiration you provided to Scouts from all over the world, but above all, I thank you for the service you provided and still do to fellow human beings. What is even more inspiring is that millions of your brothers and sisters in Scouting throughout the world are also doing their best to make this world a better place. From those who are bringing hope to young people living in dangerous areas in Mexico, to those others in the Philippines, bringing hope to children living in the streets, or the ones in Uganda who run projects that equip young people with agricultural skills that enables them to provide for their families. And many more examples can be found from which all of us can learn and feel proud. This is how our movement can strive to develop and grow in these changing times, by maintaining our common values, by sharing with and learning from our colleagues, and by being ready to build our common future together. Dear colleagues, let me finish by telling a little personal story. Every time I visit an NSO, I try to visit some local groups and meet Scouts. I need that to refill my energy levels. I normally like to ask them, what do you like in Scouting? Why are you still a Scout? And I have been having the most heartwarming responses, as you can imagine. Because it's fun, because we do lots of activities, because we make friends, because we do projects in our communities, because we can improve our weak points, our flaws. I heard this from a Cub Scout. Impressive. A couple of months ago, I was visiting a very special local group in an NSO in this region. As I sat with a unit of ventures, I asked the same question. And a 15-year-old girl looked at me with a big smile and shiny eyes and told me, I like Scouting because here I can be myself. Nobody judges me, unlike what happens in other places. Is there a better example of an inclusive environment? Of an environment which values our individual differences and builds from them? Let's do everything possible to keep Scouting this welcoming environment which respects the differences and builds from them. Doesn't matter if we live in the United Kingdom, in Kenya, or in Peru. We're all part of this big family which wants to grow. We have to count on each other to be the leading educational youth movement in the world. I and the other brothers and sisters around the world certainly count on you all to build that. Thank you for all you do for Scouting and for the young people in Europe. And I wish you a good and fruitful regional conference.
Thank you very much, Joao, for the inspiring speech. Hearing your words, I was thinking how privileged we are to be part of this movement, to be leaders of this movement, and how much we can impact on the life of young people. And the speech of Joao was showing us that we can make a difference, and that we are here not only to do resolutions, to do networking, but at the end of every hour work, every day of conference, the focus should be our children, our young adults, trying to make a real difference in our everyday work in Scouting. So thank you very much, Joao, once again for having reminded us what is our real work in Scouting. We will have the opportunity to ask questions to Scott and to Joao at the end of the World Info this afternoon, when we have a more detailed perspective on the update of the World Scouting work. So, now I ask our regional director to enlighten us about the different workshops that we will have. No? It's a workshop. No.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So we now move to an important event to many of our European NSOs, just to assess the interest. How many associations were present at the last World Scout Jamboree in Japan? Whoa. So if we look around, it seems that it's an event that interests Europe quite a bit. We are aware that a high proportion of participants were from Europe. It is a pleasure at this point to welcome from the 24th World Scout Jamboree team, Scott, Kim, Luis, and Marty, as they present to us an update on the preparations in hand for this signal event of World Scouting in 2019. Welcome, gentlemen.
Should I dance too?
Yes.
Okay. Well, did you know that the colors of our, on the ribbons of our logo are the same colors as in the different hostess, Mexico, United States, and Canada flags? Good morning, everyone. I'm Luis. I'm part of the Dream Team, which is a small group of youth members, 3 from each different NSO, and our purpose is to advise through the planning process. So, we officially started our booth campaign back in Japan, where we had the opportunity to take what we believe is the world's largest selfie, well, at least in Scouting history. We're at the gathering of of the same flag ceremony. So this gave the start for us to start promoting officially our Jamboree. So Canada, Mexico, and the United States invited to immerse in North America experience. Like once our friends from Norway co-hosted the Jamboree in 1975, our co-hosts are forging a path together. So please join us and share your culture with the world. In a recent meeting, not long ago, our 3 co-host chief scouts got together, along with different people from our planning team, to think about other ways to collaborate and serve the youth in North America, but also to update the progress on 2019. So, our theme is about unlocking a new world, which means unlock new cultures, new adventures, unlock new friends. We want our participants to make lifelong friendships from all around the 163 NSOs, from more than 200 nations and territories, everyone joining for one special event. We also want our participants, and I'm talking about the ISTs and everyone involved, to have a life-changing experience. so we can help them develop their physical, intellectual, emotional, social, and spiritual dimension, and everything united by our Scout promise and love. Now, for more details, I'll leave you with Scott Sorrells. He's our co-chairman from BSA, United States.
Thank you, Luis. Good morning, Europe friends. Good morning. We are honored to be here with you, and we understand how important the participation in this region is to the energy and success of the 24th World Scout Jamboree. In my volunteer role, I'm with the Boy Scouts of America. I've served as the Deputy National Commissioner for the last, more than 8 years now. But what brings me here today is as a co-chair of the 24th World Scout Jamboree. And along with my partners and friends, Mike Scott, who is our co-chair from Scouts Canada, and Omar Lugo, who is our co-chair from Scouts Mexico, we have formed, an amazing friendship that is tremendously strong, and we're trying to forge a path on how NSOs can do this event together on a successful basis. I have to shout out to our original bid team, our group of young people in Dream Team 1, who were part of our original visionary group. We will bring them back on staff at the Summit Federal Reserve in 2019. And Luis and his remarkable team in Dream Team 2. Frankly, our problem was Dream Team 1 had gotten a little older and is married and has kids now, so we recruited a new group of youth visionaries to be a part of the heart and soul of our operations. And in fact, we are bringing Dream Team 2 to the summit in August for a program planning session and to do some filming for our new website. You know, in 37 months and 3 days, we will be gathering at the Summit Federal Reserve in West Virginia. And a lot of you will think about the summit with the word adventure, and that is certainly true. We've got the longest combined zip lines in the world, about 8.7 kilometers of zip lines, the largest canopy course in the United States, 15.3 kilometers, the largest man-made outdoor climbing facility in the United States with 218 stations, the top purpose-built mountain biking facility in the United States with 36 trails, the most challenged courses in one facility with 83 stations, the largest outdoor skate park in the U.S. at almost 1,900 square meters, and the second largest BMX facility in the USA with 55,000 square meters. And many of these adventure programs have training elements to them. So if you haven't been on a BMX bike before, we'll show you how. And as your skills progress, like our Secretary General, have you been on a BMX bike before, Mr. Tier?
Of course.
Okay. We will get Scott Tier on a BMX bike. We'll announce when that is going to happen. And then we'll take Scott on increasingly difficult courses as his skill level improves, if it does. One of the things that, the nature of these events, they are somewhat capacity limiting. Of course, we can be affected by the weather, but frankly, we have designed this site to be the world's premier adventure camp, and we have more adventure opportunities than anyone could possibly do in the space of 12 days. But we've got a larger vision than just the rock climbing. We want to focus on other aspects that we know are important to you. One of those is sustainability, how we address our increasingly shrinking global village. Our focus on sustainability includes what we call, and let me introduce you to, the Sustainability Treehouse, which is a living education center where you immerse yourself in the concept of sustainability. We use local timber to build the structure. It has a rainwater recovery system, wind, solar powered. It's a completely zero impact, freestanding, sustainable piece of work that has won awards throughout the world. And in fact, it works so well it actually contributes power back to the grid at the summit. 125 feet tall, 38 meters. But that's only part of the sustainability program, the day-long program that we will offer as part of the Jamboree. We will join that with the Sustainability Trail with a number of stations and learning exhibits so we can focus on the best of sustainability practices. And we'll tie that in with what we believe is probably the most sustainable focused camp in the world. We have almost 7,000 square meters of dedicated conservation under easement. And for those of you that want to bring cell phones to the summit, which is probably more than a few, we have an off-grid cell phone charging system. So we tried to take the sustainability to a new level. But we also have a larger vision than just adventure and sustainability. We're going to offer everything that you are accustomed to seeing at a World Jamboree. Global Development Village, World Scout Center, food houses, faith and beliefs, and we're working on a personal development program that will focus, we are thinking at this point, on 4 aspects. Servant leadership, cultural understanding, how we bring us together as scouts, ethical decision making, and a focus on our Messages of Peace program. These are not programs that our co-host will design alone. We need your vision, we need your energy, we need your participation in our leadership. So if you have a particular interest in helping us with different aspects of our program, we hope you will speak to us before we leave Norway. We will have multiple elements that are designed to increase the socialization aspect of the Jamboree throughout the subcamps, throughout the reserve. And if there's one thing I learned in observing the very successful Jamborees in Sweden and Japan, is that the participants, the youth that we're trying to reach out to, the youth leaders, understand that what makes us different really should be what brings us together. So we're going to keep our focus on the socialization element, the experience element of the Jamboree. Frankly, the value of diversity is something that my generation could learn from the generations in this room and the generations that will be at the Jamboree. You know, somewhere in Norway today, there's an 11-year-old young lady who doesn't know she is coming to the Jamboree, doesn't know the Summit Petrol Reserve exists, or the types of programs that we're going to offer. But if you will join with us, we will change your life. Let me introduce to you now Kim Derry. Kim is from Scouts Canada, and he is our logistics chair, and he will tell us more about the summit site.
Thank you, Scott. And good morning, everybody. Good morning. From Canada, we have 2 official languages, English and French. I want to tell you that I'm officially English. I can't speak French, although I took it for 10 years at school. I can find the bathroom most of the time in French. I think Scott tells it all. Diversity around the world is our strength. And I also think that diversity in our three countries is the strength that brings forward our ability to plan for 2019. And it's been a lot of fun with the three countries in moving things forward in that fashion. My goal, obviously, for the logistics piece is obviously to support and to help deliver the program and the social programs that our other co-chairs are looking to provide. My job here, I believe, is to give you an idea about the summit itself. Summit Bechtel Reserve, or SBR, is not a name that you would probably see otherwise. That is the website for the summit site, and it is in West Virginia in USA, and I'll show you a map later on. But some of the facts around the site itself, in order to build the site, it's on an old coal mine area. They moved over 4 million cubic yards, or 3 million cubic yards, or cubic meters of dirt to transform the land as we try to transform our world. And they took an unusable area and made it into a camp that is outstanding. It is approximately 4,800 hectares, 10,000 acres, surrounded by 31,000 hectares of national forest. So you are out in nature. During 13, I was lucky to attend the jamboree that was there, the National Jamboree, and I think that gave me a much better understanding of the logistics needs for this site. As far as when you look at some of the grades, and I'll show you a map later, but they're as much as 5 degrees up and down. To get from point A to point B may take you nearly 2 hours of walking. So you will be in shape, or you will just sit on the side there and we'll pick you up at the end of the jamboree. I think most of the people that are here can make it no problem. So just sign up outside for the IST. The jamboree itself, you can see the mountainous area. Those 3 lakes are man-made. They were actually built by the construction company, and they'll provide some water activities that are around there. The highest elevation is down in this area called Garden Ground, and this is your camping areas along here, and the IST is up here, of course, because we want you to walk the furthest. And there's access points here, here, and over here. The actual highest elevation is around 900 meters, called Garden Ground, and it's from here to here is about a 2.5-hour hike. So there is a program that's going to be incorporating hiking and hopefully other activities. We anticipate around the trails, and Scott was talking about some of the bike trails. There's actually 193 kilometers of bike trails. So when you're talking about advancing, and Scott, if you could do the 193, we will actually prepare a badge for you as you cycle up onto the stage. So, from an internet standpoint, we talked about the internet. You know, scouting, I think, is moving into the 21st century. The reality is people will bring their cell phones. So the off-grid cell charging is actually, once your battery is dead, you will not have to use it anymore. But that's our idea is to have the ability to charge all the phones that are coming. And I know in Japan there was something in the neighborhood of 21,000 cell phones on site. We have the capacity, obviously, to do much bigger. We have the site itself is actually wired to 5G. So what happened is, in this area here where there's an amphitheater of 60,000 people streaming video, we reach 20% capacity on the network in the forest. We have a better system there than I have in Toronto. site itself, obviously, is right here in West Virginia. The two access points that we have officially got now is Washington, D.C. Dulles Airport, and then North Carolina in Charlotte, North Carolina. There is an actual airport right near the Jamboree site, but quite honestly, it is not a large airport. And so we'll be picking people up from Dulles and from Charlotte, which is about a 3-hour bus ride to the site. If you decide you want to come and do traveling beforehand or traveling after, those travel arrangements you'll make through your NSOs, and we certainly have the ability to support information on who you can work with. On the back. The infrastructure itself, we have 6 camps. And I'll just go back to here. There's 6 actual, whoops, they don't give you a test on these. The campsites are in these areas here. The program area is where all of this orange is. And it may look easy to get to, but if you were over here on biking and you wanted to go over here, you'll need a couple of meals and probably about an hour and a half. So you'll be picking your ideas or picking your events and probably moving 1 or 2 a day. The Summit Center in the middle is obviously where a lot of the activity will be, and the food houses will be right there. The sub-camps for camping are all in the blue, and each sub-camp has approximately 42,000, or sorry, the 6 camps, we can camp 42,000 comfortably on those sites. There are already 336 shower houses, flush toilets. There's 1,200 flush toilets all throughout the sites, 1,200 showers, and plus buildings. And there are basically 336 shower houses, 3 buildings each, which I'll show you later. And those all are combined with composting toilets, low-flow fixtures on reclamation and sustainability. The runoff is treated through another area on site so that the rain and all of the infrastructure, water, goes into back into the forest to nurture the forest. The wastewater treatment facility plant that is on there can deal with 14 million gallons or 52 million liters, and we have a large pond, and plus we have a logistics center that has 5.5, basically rivals the Walmart logistics center at 75,000 square feet, and which we'll move forward. Any of the product that we need or your shipping containers will all be handled through that facility. As far as the Jamboree itself, we are looking, and it's our intention, to be able to provide you all of your tents, all of your cooking equipment, all of your camping needs on your site. You would just need to arrive with your backpack, your sleeping bag. The actual tents and all of that equipment will be on pallets, and they'll be delivered to your site. So when you arrive there, you'll actually just have to set them all up at the beginning. If you want to take them home at the end, you can take it all home, and you just have to arrange for the shipping. And we can arrange, obviously, for the shipping for you. But the reality is, you just have to bring your backpacks and your sleeping bag. Now, we've been asked the question, and so the answer is, if you want to bring your tents, you are welcome to bring your tents. And the thing is, it'll have to fit in with the size of the campsite, which is consistent with every Jamboree. I think it's 40 by 40 or 45 by 45, put your contingent on. They'll all be numbered, they'll all be located. You'll also, when you arrive, because of the size of the site, will actually be driven to your site. And I know that seems a little unusual, We love to see people struggle along with backpacks and suitcases. But the site is so large that it actually makes it easier for a logistics standpoint to drive you there and drop you, and at the end of the Jamboree, actually pick you up at your site, and then you can move on. Now, you still have to pack things up and do all those things. Can't just leave the tents there. So all will be provided within the fee structure, and that will be, I think, a significant cost savings to a lot of people, as well as logistical aid for contingents. And even from a country standpoint, you don't have to ship a lot of containers in. We will have, for IST, all your tents are provided, and you'll actually have bunk tents. The tents I can actually stand up in, and so you'll actually be able to arrive. And on our IST site, on the map where I showed you at the top, we can accommodate 10,000 IST. The food facility, because everybody asks about that, is we'll be seating 5,000 at a time, and the tent, we can put a flow through of the 10,000 with a 15-minute wait time. So we've tested that in 13. We're testing some other additional pieces in 17, and we'll be able to facilitate that. So when you look at the campsites, the reason we're looking at supplying them, we can actually provide different colors for different subcamps, and it creates a kind of a neat image across the facility. These are the bathroom facilities. So there's basically 5 flush toilets, 5 showers, and they are incredibly, incredibly tepid. So you will get all the hot water you want if you are the only in first person. So, I know when I was in Japan and in England, that seemed to be a topic every morning. Where's the hot water? If you wanted that, I guess you go to the Marriott. But it tends to use less water when it's cold. People get in and out very quickly. But the buildings themselves, there's 3 of these. There's basically 25, I think, per subcamp. So you're talking about several hundred already built-in showers that are piped with water. You don't have to worry about, the wastewater. On the outside of here, on the back, is all water fill-ups for water bottles, all that sort of. We also have water filling stations throughout the camp. But there's 3 of these together. They have little signs on the doors here: men, ladies, boys, girls. And you can slide them back and forth. Now, we also know we can fix them because people tend to move them a lot and try and trick people on who's going in. So anyway, we can sort that out during the Jamboree. But that's sort of how it can look with the sites and with the shower houses here. So that's basically where I'm finished, and there will be also, just so you know, stages in each subcamp for your subcamp activities. They will be grocery store model for shopping, and we'll be preparing, and we're talking to a number of contingents across the globe around types of meals. We offer all of the different necessary dietary needs and from an IST perspective, but also from a contingent perspective. But as I understand from people in the know, some people don't fill out, or maybe the questions are not asked correctly on what their needs are. And to bring in some types of foods, we just necessarily need to have the NSOs to make sure that those things are filled in. But we'll work together to address any of the food needs. And it has been done already in 13, and we're testing a number of those ideas in 17, and plus in the program areas, sufficient water and watering areas as well, so that people are not looking for water or looking for things to drink. And the temperature, as everybody's asking, is about around the 80s most of the time. In the evening, it'll go down to the 70s, or 31, 32, down to about 20, 21, 22 in the evening. So it is lots of shade, lots of trees, the odd bear. You don't have to worry about the bear coming into your tent. If he does, then you won't be in the tent anyway. And but there's wild turkeys, there's deer. Most of them probably will head out of town when there's 50,000 people on site. We will be the second largest city in West Virginia during the Jamboree. And it will not, probably with visitors, will actually exceed the capital of West Virginia as far as number of people. So, I'd like to turn it over now to Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh, sorry. We pay you, so I can call you Mr. Walsh.
Thank you, Kim. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Wow. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, a little better. My name is Marty Walsh. I serve as the Executive Director for the 2019 World Scout Jamboree. I'm accountable to Scott Sorrells, Mike Scott, and Omar Lugar, our three co-chairs. But I really work for your Scouts. All of the planning that we're doing is aimed at making the experience they're going to have at the Summit Bechtel Reserve a quality experience. So I work for you, your leaders, your NSO, and your Scouts. So with that in mind, let's go back to our founder and what he said at the close of the first World Scout Jamboree. He said, and I quote, "Differences exist between the peoples of the world in thought and in sentiment, just as they do in language and physique. The Jamboree has taught us that if we exercise mutual forbearance and give and take, then there's sympathy and harmony. That's what we're trying to create for you, your other adult leaders, and your Scouts with the Jamboree. So I've got a few things to tell you today. So we will cover registration, fees, and IST experience. So let's get into it. First, on the registration fee. How do you register for the event? We are designing an online registration system that will integrate the World Jamboree functions and provide you as an NSO some real-time data that you can access at that Jamboree registration site with the details that you'll need for who's registered and who is not. You'll have access to that site. That site is being developed now and will launch in 2017. The site listed here right now today is what we're calling a microsite. It has some pictures, it has some basic text, it also has your ability to sign up for an email so you can keep in communication. That site will be replaced with a full functioning site. It will be a repository for manuals, video promotions, as well as other news and information that you'll be able to access. Let's talk about fees. Our planning committee has been organizing our budget, and we have to present our proposed fees to the World Scout Committee for their review and approval this fall. When that's done, we will be able to officially release the fee, and that will be in what we're calling Bulletin Number 1, which will be available later this fall to the NSOs. Our plan is that that fee will include all of the things that have already been presented to you and discussed this morning, with the exception of outfitter fees and local transportation fees. Now, talking about transportation, while you may have to walk 2.5 hours to get to point A to point B, there will be a busing system for your Scouts and leaders to help get to program areas, and there will be busing available if you are an IST and you're working at the Jamboree. So if you're not as physically fit as Mr. Derry and you can need a bus, there will be bus transportation on site within the Summit Bechtel Reserve to help your scouts and your leaders get to where they need to be. So, Bulletin 1 will, this fall will contain the information on the fee, the entry points that Kim already talked about. We'll also have the details and schedules for our heads of contingent meetings and other information, so be on the lookout for Bulletin number 1 this fall. Let's talk about participation. For a scout to participate in the World Jamboree, they're going to have to be born between July 22nd, 2001 and July 21st, 2005. We'll also be following all of the usual protocols for registering through the NSO for both participants and IST. There'll be no surprises, maybe with the exception that it will be more electronic through the registration system that we're designing. We've already talked about travel-related issues. Many of you have concerns about obtaining visas and passports for entry into the USA. Through a network of a law firm network that has representatives in over 100 countries, they have agreed to provide to NSOs that have those concerns pro bono assistance. Their goal is to visit the U.S. embassies and consulates in your NSO on your behalf to explain to the United States embassies and consulates what the World Jamboree is, that there'll be inquiries from people in that country to find out about visas. So that group will help us enormously in 100 different countries, again, at a pro bono, to help with that very topic of visas and passports. For item number 3, for IST, we're seeking, as Kim said, as many as 10,000 ISTs from around the world. If you're interested, please come and see our table. We can give you a card for a website that you can get on the list, or you can talk to us in more detail. We are putting a lot of time and effort into planning the IST experience. We're going to assign your function before you arrive. You'll know your job. You'll be able to communicate with your team electronically. We'll be able to do some training for your position on staff so that when you arrive, your team will already be doing some team building activities before you ever step on site. So we're placing a special emphasis on that IST experience, including we're going to have contractors do some of the jobs that you may not have wanted to do in previous jamborees. So we will have those things available by contractors and won't be a function that you'll have to perform. So we'll have gateway and transportation information for the ISD, along with some preliminary information about the head of contingents meeting. Again, that'll all be in bulletin number 1. As many of you know, in 2017, the BSA is having a National Scout Jamboree on the site of Summit Bechtel Reserve. That will serve as our dress rehearsal. We're also working to accommodate your heads of contingent who either may be on site or want to visit to see the Summit Bechtel Reserve in action. We'll make those arrangements available. Even if you'd like to serve on staff at the 2017 National Scout Jamboree, it is certainly not too late. We hope this has been informative for you, but we'll be at our booth, and we will greatly appreciate your questions. But we want to get to know you. We want to begin to build our relationship together so that we can deliver a quality program for your adults, but more important for the scouts that you are bringing to the Summit Bechtel Reserve. So, Louise, can we give them a little preview of what is available, what their friends are waiting for? Sure. All right, will you come on up?
So, here's what awaits you. Let's follow food for the sound at the Summit Bechtel Reserve. talking to you.
West Virginia, come tomorrow, take me home, country road.
Thank you, everybody, and today's photo day, so please step by. We have a photo with our flags. Thank you for your attention, and see you in 2019.
I think by the end of your presentation, you understood clearly that the European region will participate. Of course, given that you participate to the European Roverway. So, thank you very much, and as gentlemen said, they will be waiting to the outside at their stand for any questions that you may want to ask. And now we move to the practicalities of the next sessions. I would hand over to our Regional Director, David Wilson.
Thank you. I think we need to maybe point out that we quite often have technical difficulties, and we quite often sing in our region whenever everything else fails. So just to be clear, there will be 6 sessions offered by the world level in the next time period. I want to note actually that many of the sessions are presented by colleagues from Europe. And maybe this is a point at which everybody who's involved at world level from Europe, could you please stand? Thank you very much. I think this illustrates that there is a real cohesion between what the region is trying to do and what the world is trying to do, and vice versa. And I think that it stands us in good stead, because it's actually about engagement of NSOs. It's not about regions wanting to have supremacy, etc. It's all about us working together. So first of all, the first round of workshops will be offered between 11 o'clock. So we're running a little bit late, but don't worry about that. We have time. 11 o'clock until 12:30. Transparency in Scouting is offered in Plenary 1, and that will be hosted by Milena and elaborated by Mari. Then Duty to God will be offered in Plenary 2, hosted by Chip and elaborated by Joran. How to Reach 100 Million Scouts is offered in MOCA 1, and that will be hosted by Hulda and elaborated by Esben. Measuring Social Impact in Scouting is offered in 4, and that will be hosted by Kevin and elaborated by Hannah. Peace and Human Rights is offered in MOCA 2, hosted by Christos and elaborated by Joao. Scout Method is offered in Valkyrie, and that's hosted by Andrea and elaborated by Trueld. I apologize for my pronunciation, I meant to check. Then, as we will not reconvene after the lunch break at 14:30, and we will send people around to get you to make sure you've finished your lunch, etc., etc. But at 14:30 until 1600, we have youth engagement offered in MOCA 1. That's hosted by Hulda and elaborated by Hannah. Strengthening Scouting's profile, offered in MOCA 2, and that's hosted by Kevin and elaborated by Karen. Fees and voting offered in Plenary 1, hosted by Chip and elaborated by Juan and Srinat and Khalid, I believe, also. Then NSO membership criteria offered in Valkyrie, hosted by Milena and elaborated by Bragi and David, the other David Berg. So please make sure you've... Oh, sorry, I left one out. Quite an important one, Vision 2023. And NSOs is offered in Plenary 2 and hosted by Christos and elaborated by Craig and Yo. So, maybe I should tell you where the rooms are. Plenary 1 and Plenary 2 are in either end of this room, so there shouldn't be a huge amount of interference, except if you get really rowdy. And MOCA 1 and MOCA 2 are on the floor above this one. You'll have seen all of the chairs already set out for that. Valkyrie and Thor are side by side on this floor at the end, close to where the finance workshops were held. Don't worry, there will be people to direct you. You won't get lost. If you hadn't already signed up, please make sure that you decide where you're going. Don't leave it until the last minute. Yes. Whenever you're in the plenary, bring your own chairs. There isn't a crew to win the chairs. It's not like the summit. Okay, we have one final thing. Joao noted that in social media there was a visit by the Secretary General of the United Nations to Greece. It was featuring in Greek television, and we have been able to secure the footage that featured on national television in Greece, which is about the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, his visit to Greece and to refugee actions there. So I invite SHP to come and give us a little bit of an overview, because this is emotional. This is about scouting. This is what we are about.
Dear friends, dear scouts, we can play the video at the same time. Yesterday, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, met 5 from the famous little heroes of Aegean, who along with other adult and adolescent scouts are writing their own, perhaps unknown history in solidarity. In Lesbos, Greece, Europe, all the world, we are facing one of the most severe humanistic crises of our time. These 5 ventures were welcomed the Secretary General, and at the his stop at the island, they greeted him and gave him the scarf which he wore, and he said that this was what he should do. The same answer gave the ventures when they were asked where they did what they did. This was the right thing to do. Then he photographed with them, separately from the other leaders of NGOs, the army officials, the politicians. There were 2 Greek ministers among them. He had lunch with them, we will see after a while, and he put them to sit right aside of him. The Venture Scout of Mytilene were represented many million scouts from all over the world that fight for a better world every day. The last 3 years, Lesbos Scouts, along with the implementation of their regular activities program, they are working for the management of the serious problems caused by the refugees flows that enter Greece. During the last 15 months, in particular, there were more than 800,000 people have arrived in the island. The younger members of the movement, along with adult officers, are quietly helping everywhere, keeping their promise and following their tradition. They are standing next to the refugees. Lesbos Scouts, many of them children or grandchildren of the Scouts refugees of 1922, are helping all people in every situation, always in the front line, at the coast where the boats have been arriving, in the camps, building tents, gathering, preparing, offering food, playing with the children of the refugees. Apart from all that, they are trying to help every day with every way they can. Local actors confront the crisis effects. In Lesbos there are 3 full units of Scouts, and in many cases they are the only underage real volunteers that have given a lesson in solidarity, promoting the Scout principles, the real European principles. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Akalos. We will reconvene after the workshops. The breaks on lunch at 16:30. But now we will have a break. I urge you to be at sharply at 11:00 sharp in your workshops rooms to timely start the work in the workshops. So have a good break. Thank you very much.
Così non ci fottono. Dobbiamo tenere la posizione.